Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at rhythm and pacing in the edit, and footage as always comes from EditStock. If you do want to practice your editing, as ever, I recommend them highly. Good place to go to get professional level footage and rushes so you can practice your craft. There's a link below in the description. I've got a basic assemble of a scene here where I've simply put together my choices of where I think I'm hitting the beats, and at the moment it hasn't got a sense of rhythm, which is going to be my first job once I've got the assemble ready. So let's have a brief look at what I've got.
Anyhow, originally they were called the bone groove. It's a mighty race of creatures that live beneath the earth. Race of creatures that lived beneath the earth and feasted on the bones.
As you can see and hear, this is a rough assemble, and I always do the rough assemble fairly quickly. I don't look to refine the edit, I don't look to make any great decisions on rhythm and pacing. I'm simply cutting usually when one person speaks and the other person responds. My next pass essentially is going to be based on rhythm. And rhythm and pacing are a little bit hard to describe sometimes. And I think the best thing to do is actually demonstrate what I'm doing, and then I think an understanding of rhythm and pacing will hopefully come out. So I've duplicated my sequence, and I'm now going to concentrate on rhythm. I tend to do what some of the old school editors do and actually switch off the video layer so I can actually listen to the interactions between the actors and make sure I'm getting the pauses between the lines of dialogue correct first. So essentially, I'm getting the rhythm of the scene and the rhythm of the performances down before I think about exactly how quickly I'm cutting into or away from a person.
Anyhow, originally they were called the bone groove.
There we go. So I'm going to press W, make a trim there. Going to go back a bit. Press Q. So I'm essentially just concentrating on the interactions between people and the pauses, and that really is emphasizing the rhythm of the scene.
Bone groove is a mighty race of creatures that race of
Okay, let's play those back.
Bone groove is a mighty race of creatures that lived beneath the earth and feasted on the bones and teeth of the dead.
So it's quite quick work. At the moment, I've got no great sense of how the edit's going to look visually. The rhythm pass is really about the ebb and flow of the scene. It's the ebb and flow of the scene as dictated to by the direction, and also down to the nature of the actors and how they performed. I'm now going to pause and do the rest of the scene, and I'll meet you at the end. I've now finished my rhythm pass. Once I've done that pass, I usually then switch the video back on and just have a bit of a watch and get a sense and see how the rhythm and the flow of the scene is progressing.
Originally, they were called the bone groove. It's a mighty race of creatures that lived beneath the earth and feasted on the bones and teeth of the dead.
They bones?
Yeah, and
so you'll find if you actually switch the video off and just pay attention to the interchanges, the interactions between the performers, you'll often find you'll probably get 60 or 70% there. Also, by switching off the video layer, what it means is you're not getting hung up on what new editors often do, which is trying to make body movements and physical performances match. We edit for emotional continuity, not physical continuity. So now that I've done that pass, it's in fairly good shape.
see, the child would lose a tooth and their parents would bury it in the ground, and the Gru could...
So let's now consider what pacing is and how pacing can have an impact on the rhythm of the scene and the performers. Let's have a look at this exchange here.
Bones and teeth of the dead.
They bones?
Yeah, and
That's a lovely exchange there. They ate bones, and look at the doctor, how pleased he is. Let's have a listen to this.
bones and teeth of the dead.
They bones?
Yeah, and
Now, pacing is how quickly we cut to and from somewhere.
yeah,
So we have cut to the doctor, and as you can see, let me just zoom in a bit. We've cut to the doctor, but I've left a little bit of a pause before he says, yeah. And that pause shows how pleased he is to be discussing bones and all sorts of monstrous things. Let's have a listen to it.
Bones and teeth of the dead.
Hey, bones?
And teeth.
Now, if I cut that pause out, I'm just going to press Q, it diminishes his sense of enthusiasm with what he's saying. Let's have a listen.
Bones and teeth of the dead.
Hey, bones?
And
So it still works, but what we haven't done is emphasised his glee at telling this story. So I'm going to put it back. So we've got that little gap there. And pacing really is when you're thinking about the nature of the performance. He is really excited to be telling her these things, so I want to make that pause be quite pronounced so we get his glee. Let's listen to it again.
bones and teeth of the dead.
Hey, bones?
And
Now let's look at some pacing at the very end of the scene. He's recounted this lovely ghoulish story that he's really enjoyed, and she's about to insult him by saying, "Seems like a lot of trouble for a measly few teeth." Let's see how this plays out. Let's see how we can enhance it with some pacing decisions.
appeased. The grew were appeased.
Seems like a lot of trouble to go through for some measly teeth.
She has thrown an insult at him. She doesn't know. Seems like a lot of trouble to go through for some measly teeth. And I want to put the audience into a position where they kind of know that she's probably going to upset him. We know he's going to be insulted. I want to get to his face and show that insult pretty quickly so he can see how small that gap is. I want to cut away from her quite fast.
Some measly teeth.
Yeah, there we go. So let's see what happens if I actually got the pacing wrong. Let's actually sort of extend it a bit.
Some measly teeth.
Okay, here we go.
Appeased.
Seems like a lot of trouble to go through for some measly teeth.
So it just doesn't feel right. Don't worry about the movement. I'm not bothered about that. But what it's kind of, I think it's sort of selling the audience a little bit short. She has insulted him. She doesn't know she's insulted him. And I think we need to show his reaction quickly. Here, I'm just delaying it too long. That's a pacing decision, and it's affecting the rhythm of the scene. It is ruining the ebb and flow of the drama. Let's put it back to what it was.
For some measly teeth.
Going to press W. We want to get to that reaction quite quickly.
Go through for some measly teeth.
Now, of course, the reaction's way too long here. So the pacing, it's overdoing it. So I'm going to trim it, let's say about here. Press Q. Let's see how that plays out.
Some measly teeth.
It adds up.
And we've definitely got a last bit of fixing we need to do here. He is not happy with her disdain for his story. Let's have a look and see how we can improve this.
It adds up.
So I'm going to hang on that. I want to hang on that expression. He's not happy.
It adds up.
Problem is, when we get to the next shot, we've got the same expression. Be careful of playing the same beat twice. If you go from the same expression, from shot to shot, or the same emotion, the audience will feel something isn't quite right. Editing is a simple series of questions and answers. If the question in here is,
It adds up.
he's not happy, let's see what the answer to that is. He gets up and walks away. So if the question is, he's not happy, I want to not show his unhappiness again. The audience has already seen it here. So I'm going to go to about here. I'm actually going to start trimming it to when he's got up or when he's starting to get up. I'm going to take a gamble and put it about there. Let's press Q. Let's now play it back.
Seems like a lot of trouble to go through for some measly teeth.
It adds up.
Yeah, that now feels like we've got some impact. So that's a pacing decision that's enhancing and emphasizing the fact that he is fed up and wants to go away from her. Let's put it back to what it was.
Some measly teeth.
It adds up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not as impactful. And remember, editing is a series of simple question and answers. If the question in this shot is that he's fed up, we can see it in his face. The answer is he gets up and leaves. You don't have to play the same beat twice. If you do, your audience will feel less engaged, and the drama won't be working. I might even extend his reaction a little bit here, just to milk it a bit. Maybe, maybe I'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. Let's see if that helps.
Go through for some measly tea.
It adds up.
Good, there we go. So that is pacing. The pacing has improved and emphasized the rhythm of the scene and the drama of his performance. He is fed up.
It adds up.
And we show the results of him being fed up. That's pacing and its impact upon the rhythm of the scene. So to clarify it one more time, your pacing is how quickly you cut to and from people, and it has an impact on the ebb, the flow, and the rhythm of the drama in the scene. Thank you. See you on the next tutorial.